All right, I'm getting ready to install a carbon fiber ground effects kit on my 2008 BMW M6. As you can see, some of the prep work that I've done is that I've gone ahead and cleaned this rocker panel underneath with rubbing alcohol, and I got that really clean. And when I did that, then I went underneath and put my 3M tape along the edges. Now, it is literally up to the edge because that's what's going to hold that when it's coming out from the car, because all my screws are going to go along the back side here. Now, when I did that, to make things easier for me, I went ahead and stripped off about 3 inches of 3M tape. And when I did that, I pulled from the front to the back, make sure it comes out correctly. But I just taped these up right here, so when I go to put that ground effect on, it'll be easy just to grab that once I have it screwed up to get it to secure up there with 3M tape. Now, to hold this ground effect in place, it's kind of difficult, especially if you're doing it on your own. What you can do is get some cardboard boxes and fold them up to where, you know, when they are folded, they have kind of a spring to push that ground effect up against the car. It will allow you a nice way to really adjust that ground effect, that side skirt, before you start putting any screws in and or pull that tape off. So I've got 3 pieces. You can see the white one in the back, one for the middle, and this one will be in the front. When it comes to the ground effect itself, the side skirt, it's dirty because I've been working on it and drilling it, this is what I did. Doesn't mean everybody else has to do it, but I drilled a hole in the very tip, and then on the large pieces, every end. Small piece, just one. Did all of those screw holes. When I did that, I went back and I was cautious. Now, this is a pretty long tail, so I went ahead and put 2 there. I went back and used black nail polish to fill in that hole to make sure that I resealed all that resin. Some people do, some people don't. These things weren't cheap, and I don't plan to have them start splitting and separating on me. Another thing I did is when you get these things, they just come in and they're pretty dry because they're fiberglass. Most of it, probably 90% of it's fiberglass. And then they put the carbon fiber on the showable side. But this was just a dull finish, looked like it would really take on water, which fiberglass will. So before I did that, I went ahead and coated these with truck bed liner. So that way I won't get any water to penetrate these at all. Got the edges. And when you do that, make sure you do not clean the showable side with 99% rubbing alcohol. You'll screw up the finish. I learned the hard way. So I'm going to have to go back and polish that out. One thing I had to do on my BMW, even though this kit was set for it, there is a wheel brace in the back that kind of comes in catty corner to the front of the wheel, towards the front of the vehicle. It wasn't cut out for that, so I had to take a cutoff wheel and cut that out. As you can see, I've got the black where I've gone in and resealed it. Now, here's a finished product, what it looks like with that side skirt in place and on. And you can see once I clean it up and it warms up, I'll be able to go ahead and get that thing looking good again. So, but that's what you do, and I will take another video after I use the boxes to prop it up in the right place, and then I go to pull the tape out. Okay, so there's my ground effect, my side skirt mocked up. You can see how I use the boxes to really hold that thing up in place up against the vehicle until I start to screw it together. But that just adds enough tension to where I can make all the final adjustments where I want that ground effect to be in relation to the body lines before I start putting screws in there. So that's how you do it. You can use the same principle and the same guidelines for adding a front splitter as well. Now, I haven't got all the screws in that one because I want to change it up a little bit. I don't like the way they're doing or the hardware they supplied. But that was the same principle, as I just used boxes to prop it up into place after cleaning that body panel off and making sure it was clear of any debris using good alcohol, the 99% alcohol. Now, another thing you're going to need for this vehicle, since it sits so low, you're going to have to get a 90-degree fitting for your drill, so that way you can go ahead and run the screws up where you need. So, but I don't recommend allowing the screws themselves to drill through that side skirt. You run the risk of splitting it if you do. Take your time, do it right, do it once, make sure it stays on there. Now, they gave me 10 screws per side to put in there. I'm probably going to have about 20 altogether because I doubled the amount of screws the way I did it. But my fear is somebody stepping on that thing and or it starting to come off. Once it comes off, there's $500 down the tubes and you don't get it back. So I will start to bolt it up and let everybody see that. All right. So with the right angle adapter for my drill, as you can see, the drill going sideways, it gives me plenty of room to get in here to put these side skirts on. I've already pre-drilled or started this screw. You don't want to run those up with the drill because you can't tell how tight you're getting it into the plastic. You'll want to do that by hand. And then before you make the final adjustments to tightening all these screws up, you want to make sure you pull that tape out. You'll start from the back or the front, either one, and just keep pulling it sideways all the way down. Press that ground effect up into place and then tighten up your screws all the way through. All right, so all the screws are in. So now I'm going to take my tape, and as you can see, just start to pull down on this and get it out. So I'll do that all the way down. Now, I need my second hand, but I may need to push down on this just a little bit to relieve some of the pressure, but I'll do it all the way around, all the way down. Now, I start both ends, and the reason I do that is for whatever reason, if that red piece there starts to tear, I can always come at it from a different direction, because the idea is you want as much 3M tape along that edge as possible, so that way you get the best hold that you can get.